Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Theomatic Podcast.
Some of you are going to be mad at us today.
Listen, put your guns down.
Yeah, step one, don't shoot your computer.
Step one, unload the magazine,
Yeah.
and let's just have a discussion here.
Yeah, we're talking about the Second Amendment.
Here's the question, ladies and gentlemen. Came in through text, which means it's actually a personal friend.
Yeah, we will protect this person's identity, but it's a really good question. A lot of people are talking about it right now.
Especially in America.
Yeah.
Honestly, one of the topics that we have struggled with the most amongst our friend group is the Second Amendment and what it looks like in a biblical context to protect people using deadly force, and if there's even a place for that.
Awesome question. It's awesome, and it's responsible, and whoever asked this, and I generally don't know who asked it. You haven't told me.
Mm-hmm.
Only you know. But whoever asked it really cares about the heart of Jesus when it comes to the sanctity of human life and where our rights end and where theirs begin, and that it's thoughtful. So I'm excited to answer it. I don't know if we'll agree 100%, and I certainly know there's a lot of people that won't agree with either of us because this is a hot button topic. I'm ready. Are you?
I am not ready, but the camera is on, and we're going to go.
We're going.
No, this is a conversation. This is the Theomatic Podcast where
Yeah, that's good.
we're figuring out how to have...
This is a tough discussion. It is divided friend groups,
Yeah.
especially here in North Idaho.
I live in North Idaho.
Yeah,
This is like
it's gun central here.
conservative, gun central.
Mhm.
I know many people that open carry.
Mm-hmm.
And so you may live in a place where that was unheard of. Here it's not
Yeah.
unheard of.
Yeah.
Here it's pretty normal.
And,
but there's
and
still
central,
differing, but there's
central to the culture here, I would say.
central, yes.
Yeah,
So I'll start off by saying that I own guns.
yeah, I do too.
Okay.
We both own firearms.
I think that what's in this question, though, and if he didn't mean it, I think it deserves to be talked about, is not just is deadly force allowable scripturally for whatever reason. I think that a discussion around the prevalence, the elevation of the Second Amendment in American culture in general should be discussed.
Yeah.
Like, aside from can you use deadly force, but just
Mm-hmm.
how people are
Mm-hmm.
care and think about the Second
Yeah,
Amendment.
yeah. A comment
Sometimes
was
it
made.
feels like the Second Commandment here.
Dude, that's a really good point. Yeah, let's talk about those two things. Let's dive right in. We're going to need a lot more time than we have. There's going to be misunderstandings from what we say. I'm going to go on record to start the episode. I personally have firearms. I have thought about this question. I have an answer that's settled in my heart. I do believe there is a problem with constitutional rights overtaking biblical precedents in our culture. I actually think that's a problem.
What do you mean by that?
I think that America is very unique. Our freedom of speech is awesome, and I love it. Our right to bear arms is awesome, and in the right, healthy hands, it's awesome and great. But I think that the Bible supersedes the Constitution. And if it ever comes to where I would lose a relationship or an opportunity, literally even to evangelize and help someone meet Jesus, when it comes to an argument about the Constitution, I would drop the argument right away and lean into Jesus. So I have a belief that the American church is getting a little American rather than the church. That's my belief.
Okay.
Yeah. Love y'all. And I have a gun. So
Yeah.
we're on the same team.
He's a gun guy.
I'm a gun guy. I love firearms. Yeah.
And it's more than just the Second Amendment. It's Are you a citizen of any country, or are you a citizen of heaven first?
Come on. Yeah. Yeah. So I think we actually line up. I think we have some differences, but I think we line up in that belief. Heaven first. We're citizens of the kingdom of God.
Heaven first.
Before. Yeah.
My chief commanding officer is named Jesus, not Joe or Donald
Yep.
or any other name.
Yep.
My highest authority is God and His Word.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's talk about some
but
biblical
it's not bad
precedents.
to also value as a lower thing the Constitution that we have. I agree with that too.
Yeah, 100%.
And I think we should fight for it.
Mm-hmm.
I think we should fight for freedom of speech. I think canceling people based on their spoken opinion is...
Yeah. And I would change the language a little bit for my use. I'd say I'm less about let's fight for it, but I'm ready to die for it. And I think it's different. It's a different sentiment. I think we have a lot of fighting going on, and I think we need quiet resolve and quiet rebellion, but we don't. We should be willing to die to protect our rights that we have. I think that's okay. If someone attacked our country, I would probably be pretty rad as a soldier. Man, maybe. I can't run a mile, but I could sit in a gun turret. That's my contribution.
Okay, so we should not fight for it, but we should die for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm semantically changing the language.
Somebody comes after your guns. You're not fighting to keep your guns, but you're ready to die to keep your guns?
Yeah, so
does that
I
mean?
wouldn't kill someone who wanted to take my guns.
Okay, but you'd let them kill you.
That's different. If someone was trying to hurt my family and I had a gun, I would use it.
Okay.
Those are different things, in my opinion.
So there's the deadly force. So
Yeah.
So when is it appropriate to use deadly force?
Well, I think first, like, are we allowed as Christians to use it?
Are we?
I think that's the first answer, scriptural precedent.
Okay.
The only one that so the Bible's pretty clear that we shouldn't murder, that God hates the shedding of innocent blood is what it says in the list of 7 things that God abhors or hates.
And there's difference between murder and killing.
Murder has intent
motive.
or malice motive. Yeah. It's the same way that the American judicial system we actually get it from the Bible, that the way that they discern the difference. That's actually where it originated. I am not an advocate of murdering people.
Of course.
I actually want to go on record and say I'm actually anti-death penalty, because Dylan actually said this, like if the Apostle Paul can change at some point, I believe everyone, no matter how wretched of a sinner they are, can change. And I'm willing to pay taxes to keep them alive. Do I think the prison system sucks and needs reform? Yeah, totally. But I don't think mankind has the wisdom to enact that judgment. I don't believe in murder. I don't believe in the shedding of innocent blood, including babies. So I'm pro-life. Doesn't mean I'm anti-choice. I love freedom. But when it comes to self-defense, I don't see anything in the Bible other than when Peter cuts off the ear of the soldier that comes to grab Jesus. Jesus's response is so above any of ours. He grabs the ear off the ground. He heals the soldier. He looks at Peter and he says, live by the sword, die by the sword. There's something there that I don't understand all the way. It's so powerful and loving, but I don't think it means you can't defend yourself. So where I stand is I believe deadly force, like in the eyes of God, it's not going to keep you out of the kingdom of heaven if someone comes for your family and you shoot them dead. And I think that would be the only time, essentially, of protecting yourself, your family. Now, then there's the question of being a soldier that we got to tackle. I'm going to make you do that one.
Let's
No, we can unpack that a little bit more. I went fast because there's a lot of scripture to cover about this issue.
So what's the scripture for protecting your family?
Well, I think it's a lack of scripture about it. That's my point. If it was...
So we're drawing a conclusion based on the lack of something.
Yeah. So because all the other types of killing are essentially covered, but not that one. So if you go into the Old Testament, we started talking, we had this question like 3 minutes before we started. We just started like ping ponging a little bit and it got really hot really fast. Because if you go to the Old Testament, you can see that God, who's the same yesterday and today and forever, but it doesn't mean that he does the same thing all the time. There is a lot of killing in the Old Testament. There's a lot of violence where even God will tell his people to do X, Y, Z to this people group. Would you agree that that's in there? Yeah. And anyone that reads it will find it?
Of course.
So there are laws about murder, manslaughter, revenge, eye for an eye, sanctuary cities. So at one time, Like there were a lot of regulations about it. In the New Testament, I would say what I get from reading the whole New Testament, and both of us have read it multiple times, is that God is still real strong on innocent blood, murder, revenge killings. Like these are hard no-goes in the New Testament. This is turn the other cheek territory. This is if someone steals your coat, give them your shirt too. We are in the grace age, make no mistake, but I don't think it ends when you can defend your own life or your family. Although Stephen didn't defend his own life. Jesus went like a lamb to the slaughter without, protest. These are people who are admired and in the hall of faith, but that's different than you'll be kept out of the kingdom if you do this. So that's where I think the law stands on it.
So
does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. So
Dylan likes my answer.
Do you think that if somebody's coming in your front door and you fear that they're trying to harm your family, you believe in deadly force? Okay.
I have sunglasses I will throw on. The deal with it, sunglasses, double pistols. I'm going in.
Why the sunglasses?
I don't know, just to meme it. But I'm pretty hard on the castle law. And I get it that not everyone agrees. I don't think defending your property should be lethal force. Half of North Idaho hates me now. So but I do believe in the castle law. If I'm in my home and someone's breaking in with force, how would I know they don't intend to kill or harm me or, hurt my family? I think you can shoot someone there.
Okay.
If you have a lot of acreage and someone's breaking into your barn, stealing stuff, I don't think you can get a rifle and shoot that person because they're on your property. That human life is more valuable than your stuff, and there is a scripture for that. If someone takes your coat, give them your shirt too. So that's where I land, to be clear.
Okay. So if somebody's coming in to hurt your family, you're the shepherd of your house. You're defending your sheep and you're taking out the threat. Okay?
Yeah, but not with slings, with guns.
But if
to be clear,
there's a whole argument that the accuracy of David's sling
was better,
was spot on. Anyway,
yeah, but still deadly.
Malcolm
force.
Gladwell's book,
that's pretty legit.
David and Goliath is phenomenal. But okay, but if you're Stephen and your life is being taken because of your faith, your family's not there, they're trying to kill you because of your faith. What are you doing then?
Well, if I had the faith of Stephen, I would hope I would be the quality of person that could give my life for the gospel.
Okay. But obviously you wouldn't deny the gospel. But if it's between...
Well, I would try. No, man, I don't know what I would do. I've never been in that situation,
But do you think that...
I don't want to be a Peter.
If Stephen had a gun, is he okay to defend himself in that situation?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I don't know. And I know this, and this is where I land, like, he is admonished and he is in the hall of fame, and the Lord is so delighted in him because of his commitment to the gospel. If he had defended himself, I think God would still love him like a son and understand. But there's a special place for people that can make the sacrifice for the gospel.
Right.
So I think it's different, right?
I think dying for the eternal kingdom and my faith in that and in Jesus is different than dying because I'm between the threat and where the threat wants to be or what it wants to be, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's my view on it.
I love how hot everyone has an opinion about this.
Dylan, this is the first
Dylan's
time Dylan's
bringing it in.
He's
been so quiet for 4 seasons. He's like, I have a thought.
So into the mic to say everything that he just said.
So Dylan eloquently said that dying for your faith and having your life taken for your faith is different than you being in between a threat that wants to get after you or your family and where they want to, and you're defending yourself or your family, right? Those are different things. Someone's coming to take my wife's life, or
I agree with that.
Yeah. So I think we'd all agree.
Yeah. To me, it's 100% different. If I'm protecting my children or my wife, that's my charge.
Yeah.
Is to protect my family.
Yeah.
But giving your life for your faith, your own life, is laying down your own life is a different thing.
Yeah,
but
it's a different thing. It's interesting though, because it does cross into territory that, and this is why it's so hotly debated, especially in Christianity and in our area, is the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms, was a protected constitutional right to prevent a tyrannical government from usurping the people.
Right.
And a lot of people, and I think rightly, would say that that's probably held back a lot of craziness, is the fact that Americans are armed. And I don't think I'm willing to give that up. I actually see a lot of wisdom in that. And while we have the right, we should keep it as much as we can.
I 100% agree with that too. I live in a tension with it because I believe in the rights that the Second Amendment gives us.
Mm-hmm.
And but just where I struggle personally is if I need to pull the trigger, how is my soul going to deal with that? And do I think that it's okay? I don't think that I'm struggling if somebody's trying to hurt my kid. I think it's like, I think it's going to be hard, but it's like, was necessary.
Yeah.
But
I mean, would you pull the trigger if someone came for your guns, or the government was like, you can't be a Christian anymore? No, I don't think you would. I wouldn't. That's where we diverge, I think, from a lot of the people in the argument. When the government comes to take our faith, like it might one day, to me, we've crossed into the category of we give our life for our faith. And that's where I say I'll die for my rights, but I'm not going to go kill for them or fight for them. It's different. It's different to me. But a threat, trying to get my kids, in the moment, $100,000, I'm shooting somebody.
Mm-hmm. So in our nation, the Second Amendment is it's like everybody's fearful of step one, because not necessarily because of step one, but because they think it will lead to step 7, which is if we have more restrictions on guns, the fear of that is, well, one restriction leads to another, which takes us down the road over here.
Yeah, and they're right. In a lot of ways, they're right. I agree with that. I remember being a youth pastor 20 years ago and being like, if we give up on this one issue, it's going to get real crazy in this arena. And sure enough, here we are, and it's really crazy. Right? So that does happen.
So I guess I struggle a little bit with, just like every issue in our society today, it's so polarized. It's really hard to just kind of be like, well, I kind of am here in the middle. But on this particular one, I feel like, is there not a middle ground between like a little bit more background checks, or like
that's fine.
Like if you're a true psychopath that hasn't just some things that like make it a little harder for the crazy people to have guns.
Background checks are happening. I think the question is testing for mental health.
Testing for mental health.
You know what I mean?
Which the challenge is it's really subjective.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now we're into Minority Report territory. It's like, well, this person hasn't done anything, but they're capable. Well, all of us are capable of doing something.
Sure. If somebody's innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah. So to advocate for the side that's like, no, none of that, I land on, I'm okay with strict. I don't care if it takes me 2 months to get a gun, as long as I can get it.
Yeah.
That's
the
okay.
moment it crosses into the line of like, you're being restricted.
If someone's evaluating me, I guess I would need to see the criteria, and I wouldn't want the government to set the criteria, I guess, is how I would land on it. Like, dude, I don't trust them. Sorry, they're total morons. I don't care what side's in charge. They're all the worst. And like, none of them love or care for us. Like can anyone show that? No. So, like juries, let's take juries. That's one good thing I think that we do. Is like you're judged by a jury of your peers. Okay, well, maybe you go through an interview process by a jury of your peers, and they evaluate, not the government though, like your peers. Like, nah, we live in a community with this person. We think, I would be okay with that. That wouldn't bother me. I'm a kind of person that's like, I'm okay with responsible gun ownership. I also see the other side where it's like you start giving the government that control, though, you will have no right as soon as possible. I agree with that.
Yeah.
I also don't believe that owning a gun is a God-given right. So I wouldn't kill someone.
That's what I was going to ask is just because it's a good right that our Constitution gives us, which I think we should desire to keep.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily make it a God-given.
No, it's not. It's not a God-given right. You can throw a rock at something. Maybe that's, I don't know.
Slingshots. Yeah. God gave us slingshots.
Well,
he gave David slingshots for a reason.
God gives us the passion to want to stay around and breath in our lungs. And when other people want to take that, God's pretty clear that he doesn't like that. Mm-hmm. Right? But that's why when people read the Old Testament, they're like, this is the God you want me to serve? Like, look at all the killing that he's like prescribing. I mean, I've had youth kids come to me going like, if this is the God that you love, this isn't the God that I would love. And that's where you have to get really clear on innocent blood and murder and motives and what is the context. It is important.
Right.
They're important distinctions.
Right. And so you would say of all of the God prescribed battles in the Old Testament, that he's not commanding that per or against innocent blood.
Yeah. And there's 4 cases I can think of where they mention children being killed, and that's really challenging. I think there's an explanation for it. I really struggled with that for literally 2 years, by the way, and I really dove into that subject. I cannot do it in 4 minutes. There's no way.
Yeah.
And I'd have to actually bring materials because it's pretty deep. But yeah, I still am pretty confident we serve a God that doesn't shed innocent blood.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's a big subject.
It's huge.
And obviously it's deeply rooted in our nation and the hearts of people and our freedoms and our Constitution. In regards to the specific question that's asked, I guess I would say, again, whatever does not come from faith is sin. So there's that. It sounds like neither of us explicitly believe that defending yourself or your family is sin, that it's allowable.
It's a what's the term? Permissible will. It's like in that area where God's like, I'm not going to speak a lot about it because like the human lizard brain is going to protect itself like a child will, a child would protect itself. It's built into us. He wired it into us. Mm-hmm. So I think that it's not a sin, but I just want to be clear why. Like it's wired into us to want to stay alive.
We don't have a lot of time left, but
it's okay if we take a little longer. We have some episodes that are 27
during
minutes.
World War II, Dietrich Bonhoeffer was part of a plot to take out Hitler.
I know.
And he was dealing with this issue theologically, and I believe the term is a teleological suspension of ethics.
Yes.
Whereas your normal ethic is I don't take life. But in this case, it's required to accomplish. And it's like, yeah, I agree with that. I think I'd been part of that plot. Because
100%.
What Hitler is doing is not okay.
So
it
reprehensible.
needs to be stopped.
And so the only way you'll stop him is take his life.
Yeah. It's like the other things we talked about, like stop sinning and then do by whatever means necessary.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know. It's just an interesting,
I'm concerned about anyone who thinks it's so cut and dry.
Right.
Like I'm concerned, like, yeah, we can just kill people. Like, well, you should read your Bible more. Probably. Like it's a big issue. You know?
Like, we'll just do whatever on the one side. Or, well, there's one passage, the ear got cut off and Jesus said this thing that he said. And so that means
none.
Pacifism.
Yeah.
Complete.
No soldiers.
And
nothing.
It's like,
no.
It's not like that.
No, it isn't.
It's in depth. You have to pursue the voice of God and what he wants for you. Like for me, I have guns. But I don't personally feel comfortable carrying. That's me. Yeah. But I don't judge anybody that carries. And in my church, if somebody walked in there and tried shooting up, I'm glad we have people that are in that church carrying and are ready to step in the harm's way and take that person out and put their life on the line.
Yeah.
I'm happy for that.
I've always respected when military people will tell me stories and it's be like, yeah, we had a strict rule. We do not fire unless fired upon. And I love that. I don't know enough about the military to know if that's like a standing order. Or that's how we operate. I'm sure there's times it's not like that. But in the times I'm like, that makes me more proud of our service people. It's like, we're going to be there. We're going to be an intense presence. We have an objective to accomplish. We want to protect XYZ. And I know there's a million times we've done it wrong. I'm not saying like America's America. What I am saying though, is the soldiers that I know that I went over, they are like, we get shot first, then we can shoot back. And I'm like, heck yeah, that sucks to have to be the bigger person in that. But like, that's probably the way it should be always. You know what I mean?
Good subject.
It
Even
is good.
Dylan's chiming in on this one, folks.
Yeah.
North Idaho.
Oh, dude, you're gonna get some hate mail.
Thanks for the text, buddy.
Can we wrap it up a little cleaner? Let's take an extra 2 minutes. Do you feel I feel comfortable giving a viewpoint, willing to have it changed, but just summarizing it? But would you be willing to do that? If you don't, I will, but I would love to hear your viewpoint.
At this point, my view is I think that we should continue to have the freedom to own guns. I think that defending yourself and your family is perfectly permissible. I just think in general, some political issues, it seems, are taking higher priority than our commitment to God and his kingdom, and that we need to be aware of that.
Well said.
That's my opinion.
Yeah. We share the same opinion. I would add that constitutional rights are an incredible privilege and worth defending, but they are not worth killing our fellow man over. In the case of like slavery, we should fight that battle. We should fight and defend people who are having their life robbed of them. So I think it's a conditional. I think the Lord understands we live in an imperfect world, and noble motives are really what should be checked here. That's what I believe. And I own guns for the instances that I might be in where I have to do it. I'd rather have it than not have it.
Well, good conversation.
Great conversation. We'll probably need to do a follow-up on this one.
I don't know.
I would love to talk about military service. I think that's, I think it's important. Like, we have servicemen and women overseas that are believers. And I know, at least I've had conversations with two of them that come back after experiencing what they experienced. They're like, I wrestle with what I did over there, or what I saw over there, or, that's a huge issue that we should talk through in front of people. I don't have the answer.
Yeah.
I'm hoping you do.
Me neither. Well, thanks for joining us, everybody. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
And don't just pull out quotes and condemn us, and because this is one of those ones it's an ongoing discussion, and lots of things to think about. So thanks for joining today. We will see you next time.
Peace.